Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Real to Real Talk. I am Sergio Barrera, and it's time once again to talk all things movies. But if it weren't for this guy, I'd be talking all by myself. This is Paul Britton, the other Real to Real Talker. Paul, welcome.
Hey. How's it
Hey
going?
is
We
right.
got movies to talk about, my man.
Yeah, we got a few, absolutely. We also have the state of superhero movies to talk about because, gosh darn.
Yeah, it's whew.
It's interesting because one of the things you and I have consistently been discussing over the last few weeks is sort of the state of the movie theater experience. Movies that we, at least one movie a week we have to go to a theater for.
Sure.
And as has been my experience for the last few weeks, and I think similar to yours, people aren't going to the theater.
Right.
Now, one of the movies we're going to talk about, the movie that we went to the theater for, okay, so without naming it, people are going to know in a minute. It drew worldwide 140 million, but domestically it was only like 68.
67, 68. Yeah, I think it was 68. I think you're right. Yeah.
Which for the main actor was like the 28 million it did on opening day was his biggest ever, in which he was sort of the star, right?
Yeah.
But I think we're safe in believing that 68 million, it's going to drop off, man.
Well, okay, so here's the question. The question is, do we put stock in the idea of pre-COVID, post-COVID? Because post-COVID, 68 million is bonanza.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. But that's I guess what I'm getting at is I don't see a trend. And we've been talking, we've sort of held Wakanda Forever as this place of like, this will be the true moment of reckoning.
Yeah, 2 weeks
for the theater experience, right?
Yeah.
I honestly thought, and I had to switch my tickets a couple of times because of occurrences that had me push back, when I went to go see this movie.
Okay.
But every time I logged onto my app, I was like the first person buying seats for that showing, you know?
Yeah.
And so without just going into specifics of the title and the review of the movie, was it the same for you? Like, were you walking into a barren
No,
theater?
I went IMAX and there were people.
There were people,
it was midday on a Saturday,
okay.
like 12:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah, mine was 12:40.
Yeah, it was. I will say, percentage of theater wise though, both super spoiler alert, there are 2 other movies that I saw this weekend that we're actually going to be doing next week. All right. So for next week we got another, we have the super special deal going on. Both of those were practically sold out. Okay. But they were in tiny theaters that literally, I think one theater was the smallest theater I've ever been in my entire life to see a movie. It was literally like their quote unquote screening room, know, and so it had like 24 people, but every seat was taken. And then the other one, it was a smaller it was one of their smaller theaters, and it was, pretty packed. And I went midday on a Monday. I took a day off and I went at 1:30 on a Monday, and it was packed. So
I also wonder if it has anything to do with the brand, like what theater chain, because Regal is right down from the house, so most of my experiences, plus I'm part of their Regal Unlimited, I pay $18 and I can see all the movies I want,
right?
And so I wonder if because I know Regal has not been doing well overall. And it's evident in how many tickets they sell for their films in any other theaters. I forget what movie I watched. I said it last week or the last time we spoke. It was the 300 plus seat theater, and I was literally the only person in there.
Yeah.
And so it continues to be an interest. And I guess I thought this movie we were going to see a bit more in terms of people. I guess Wakanda Forever really is going to be the marker. Like, it's going to really tell us what people are willing to do.
Let's be fair. Forever, 60 million was you did really well. Like that. Sure. That's really good opening. Congratulations, fan friggin' tastic. The golden standard is 100 million. You know, if you can do 100 million that's like, all right. So and this, I don't think in any environment this movie is getting to 100. I
Domestic.
I might be personally biased against it, but I just don't know that this is a property that anybody really cared about. And
Yeah.
and coming from a franchise that has earned zero trust in producing quality movies on a consistent basis. So,
right.
Whereas Wakanda Forever is going to be just the opposite. So,
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's where, as I look at the landscape a little further out, I watched the trailer for the next Ant-Man movie,
Yes.
Quantumania.
Yes.
We're when you have those kinds of things on the horizon, and there are others, maybe it's just going to be a slow burn, and it's going to be those kinds of movies that bring people back, because there is such a disparity in quality. In if we're talking just superhero movies on their own,
right.
And so with that thought in mind, let's go ahead and begin diving into what it is we're going to talk about today. Because
by the way, this was as tightly held a secret as to what movie we're going to be talking about as the secret of Black Adam. The child died in the movie.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Okay, you want to jump right in? Let's jump right in. So, because man, this movie had problems.
Yeah, not the least of which, like, just on the surface, just like without delving anywhere into the movie.
I know exactly where you're going. Go ahead.
And I just mentioned it during the trailer.
Every single one.
It's like you would kill people too if your kid died. And during the entire first act of the movie, they put on this phony baloney, murmurs play of, oh, the Rock is, we don't know who the Rock is. And it's like, yeah, we do. Because you tell it, like, are you hoping that people who saw your trailer don't go to the movie? Like, is that
that was such a problematic thing for me, and because you even, I mean, okay, let's pretend for a moment, Paul, that you hadn't seen the trailer once.
Okay,
the first few minutes gives away.
Yeah,
the way in which the movie is sequenced, it's easy to figure out where all this is going. To the point when it finally gets to the point where I didn't know until today that the character's name was Hawkman. I was gonna say when the bird dude finally, like, this is how little I cared about these characters. I didn't even bother to find out who they were.
Yeah.
More on that.
They don't bother to tell you either, which is
no kidding.
Yeah.
More on that in a moment. But no, by the time it gets to the moment, and I'm sorry, spoiler alert, whatever.
No, we're spoiling the shit out of this movie.
Because what is there to spoil?
And here's the thing is, they spoiled it themselves with the trailer, so they don't care about spoilers. So,
dude, when the line was, "That's not your son, isn't it?" And I'm like, well, duh.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Such a problematic film in terms of this. I don't get why your trailer gives away your whole film.
No.
And you still think that your film is going to be compelling.
No.
Then let's layer in characters. And listen, I have said from the beginning, I am not a comic book person.
Okay.
But this movie reminded me of the feeling I had when I was watching Eternals. Beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
Who the hell are these people?
Except this one wasn't even beautiful.
Beautiful to watch. No, God.
Yeah. So and that was one of the problems with Eternals, but at least in Eternals, like, there were personalities there that you could, like, attach to and enjoy. No, like, there was 1.5 characters that you could enjoy in this movie. You could enjoy Cyclone, the young woman who is sort of like the Justice Society of America, by the way.
Please.
Yeah. But that's a real 1940s era comic book thing, by the way. You don't need to bring that in. Like, it's horrible. And like, I really like Pierce Brosnan. I don't know if I like Pierce Brosnan's character as much as I liked him.
Yeah.
They did a great job of casting there. But like
Sure.
Pierce Brosnan's is the other character where he mentions Dr. Fate, and that's his character's name, but nobody ever calls him Dr. Fate. And it's like, come on, like,
Yeah.
don't,
It's really strange because,
Yeah.
I understand that my knowledge of comic books and comic book characters,
Right.
the lore is always going to be a sort of, I'll take my blame where I should take my blame. But that when this movie is over and done with, my first question becomes, number one, is it obvious that the studio put all of their money on Dwayne Johnson, thinking that his presence in this film would carry to big success? Yes,
Sure,
I think that's what they did.
Yeah.
But then why do you give him so little screen time and so little to do?
Yeah.
Now,
and why do you literally put zero money into a script that makes anybody else even remotely compelling?
Right. And here's the problem here's the even bigger problem with that.
Yeah.
The dynamic between not Windmill. So what is the girl's character name?
Cyclone.
Cyclone and Adam Smasher. Okay. Yeah. What bugged me most about their two characters had nothing to do with their acting, because was there chemistry between them or what? In moments that they shared, there was fantastic chemistry, and I thought to myself, these two are wasted here. Amidst all of this, here are two actors who are doing their work and doing it well, and I want to care more about them, but then they're gone, and I'm being forced to care about characters I don't know and understand. It was really strange to see that happen, because I think that this character, and then let's get into real quick the portrayal of a character who's this anti-hero, and yet all he does is pout the entire movie. Like,
and here's the problem with the anti-hero is, if he's going to be an anti-hero, you have to actually think that he's doing things that aren't good.
Right.
And the people who are supposed to be the good guys and supporting good should be doing things that are good. And blindly insisting that everybody be given due process, that doesn't make a good guy. Like, no. that I'm sorry, that don't kill the evil mercenaries that are terrorizing this place. Is not like, oh yeah, Hawkman's right. These people should not be getting killed right now.
It just, come on. It didn't make sense, and not, It's funny because when I see somebody like a Pierce Brosnan, especially at this stage in his career, I get excited. I didn't know enough about the character he's going to play for me to get excited about. Oh my goodness, we're going to see Pierce Brosnan as insert name here.
Yeah.
But just I appreciate that he's still working. Right.
Sure.
He has some stellar moments in the film.
Sure.
I think he carries himself very well.
Agreed.
But that's what you had this amalgam of different levels of success in terms of the acting. Yeah. You had a main character that really was, for all intents and purposes, was one level. A script that did no one any service, and special effects that, frankly, I didn't find spectacular.
They were mediocre special effects. Yeah. I'm over being disappointed with special effects, though, just because it's been a year for that. I'm fine. I'm just ready for everybody to stop bitching and moaning about computer effects, because that's what's here now. And computer effects gave me everything from the first Iron Man movie on through Endgame. And I will never complain about special effects, because I got those movies because of but here's the thing is, if you want to complain about special effects, first go and watch every attempt to do a Marvel movie before computer special effects were available, and then come back and say, yeah, you know what, these special effects suck. Because I have news for you, they don't. Even the first Jurassic Park movie, I mean, the special effects are like, okay. I mean, sure, that I could see how that was really good at the time, but I don't think they particularly hold up. But
no, I just think that for what we have
yeah,
now, when a movie
Yeah.
like this gets put out with so much like fanfare,
bluster, yes.
let's put it on the screen. Let's put some of that money on the screen.
Yeah.
And can we please
Avatar.
do away? Well, hopefully,
Yeah.
Can we please do away with the trope of the kid who's teaching the hero how to be a hero?
Yes.
Like, oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Or better yet, just if you're writing a superhero movie and you have a kid in it for more than 2 seconds, you have to do a rewrite. Just go back. Your movie's not going to be good. Do a rewrite. And this is coming from my brother. He's a staunch kids ruin movies person, and I've never really been that way. Because I look at the Goonies and I well, look, there are movies where kids say, absolutely carry
Sandlot.
movies,
Yeah.
but sure, Sandlot. There are,
Christmas
there are
Story.
instances. But in general, yeah, because nobody knows what to do with the kid, and you can't hurt the kid.
Right.
The kid has automatic plot armor, and that's not interesting.
Yeah.
It's just not interesting. So
the use of the kid in this movie skated so close to the unfortunate amount of humor in the last 2 Thor movies. Like, it was like, we don't need to take this character that you're trying to paint as being, anti-hero, yes, but also wrong in his decision to kill versus, and then like have this kid who's like, you should have a tagline. It's like, anyway, so
yes,
yeah. But by the way, before I forget to say this, you should tell your brother he needs to do a podcast called Kids Ruin Movies, because there's probably plenty of material. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm thinking we didn't like Black Adam. So.
No, I mean, but here's the thing is that in spite of my complaints, I was entertained. Like,
okay,
on a very basic level, I at least kind of was like, all right, I just have to ignore how terrible Hawkman is. By the way, like, Hawkman, I used to watch the Justice League cartoon when I was a kid. Okay. I freaking loved Hawkman. Hawkman was awesome.
Yeah.
Why did they have to make just the most wet blanket garbage character? And it's just, I don't understand what they were trying to do. It's whatever.
It was, it was weird.
And we haven't even mentioned the villain yet, and that's a problem with DC in general. So, but that's fine.
Right. No, I had an interesting conversation with our friend Nick Kramer, who basically was like, there was no villain for a large portion of this movie.
Yeah.
And then when the villain finally does appear, and I'm stealing his whole shtick about this, there's just so much about him that doesn't make any sense as to the story of how he got where he got, and
and the problem is that it's like, oh my god, so plot twist, the person who was helping who was helping it first turned out to be evil. It's so telegraphed. It was so like time. It was like, come big on, time. Stop it. Just stop it. Don't do this.
They even the setup on that was clumsy. It's like, and it happened so quickly.
Yeah, unless you're making Robert Redford a bad guy, your superhero movie doesn't need a twist. I'm just gonna flat out tell you, if Robert Redford is a bad guy, that's a twist. If you're not casting Robert Redford in the twist role, then you don't bother. Like, you know.
Well, as many know, when it comes to ratings on this show, we use a 5 taco rating.
Yeah,
a movie can get as many as 5 tacos plus guac if you want to give it extra love. Paul, may I go first? Because I think I'm going to go lower than you.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to land on 2 tacos plus guac for Black Adam. And the guac is for Noah Centineo and Contessa Swindell.
Okay.
As Adam Smasher and Cyclone. Again, they had some really charismatic moments.
Yeah.
I got to give a little bit of love to Pierce Brosnan as well, but this is not a good Dwayne Johnson outing. I'm sorry.
No,
it's just not.
You were wrong. I'm going lower. It's 2 tacos.
Oh, wow.
And just because I am not wasting guac on this movie. And that, honestly, this is, when I go sit down and do Letterboxd, I'm probably giving it 1.5 stars.
Okay.
But because we use the guac, like I don't think I can give this movie guac, even just horrible guac that costs $3 and they give you like this little midge of guac. Like I'm not doing it.
Part of it's
so we're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna go 2 tacos, not really good tacos, but you just are in the mood for tacos, so you grin and bear it. So there you go.
You're hungry. You have to eat. So
yeah, you gotta eat something.
Oh, that sounds like work tacos. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Black Adam's in theaters now. Don't take our word for it. Maybe do this time. Yeah. Wait till it comes out on the streaming.
I honestly, the one thing I will give it is like there have been several movies like The Invitation. There's a couple others where we have reviewed them, and I have said, I just kind of wish I had seen this one. And I liked seeing this. There's spectacle here. It does have the spectacle. So for that reason, I say, yeah, go to the theater. But, in 3 weeks, come back here to hear a review of Black Panther, which, by the way, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I already knew that.
Ooh, Nelly.
Yep.
Slap on the bladder bag because you're not getting up. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, there you have it. So as much as we love to talk about films, sometimes we just have to be downright honest.
Yes.
We always have to be downright honest, and sometimes it hurts. So
speaking of hurting.
Speaking of hurting, we're gonna take a quick break actually. And we're going to show you guys where you can find us on social media. So we'll be right back with more of Reel to Reel Talk. Check this out. All right, we are back and we are ready to continue this week's episode of Reel to Reel Talk. Paul, after Black Adam, we just, we got places to go.
We got to do this.
Yeah, we do. Are you ready for what the hell did I just watch?
I'm not. This one hurt.
Did you mention that it was?
So there's a theme to my what the hell did I just watch this week? I did 2 movies. And the theme is 2 great movies that absolutely no one should ever watch ever. For any just do not watch these movies. But I have, and we need to get started. So the first one is 2022 release. I'm not sure if this is from Denmark or Netherlands. Might be a joint venture. I'm not entirely sure. Bottom line is, the movie's called Speak No Evil. It's available on Shudder. It also had a limited theatrical release. And remember how I mentioned in Black Adam, where like don't put kids in your movies because they just have plot armor and that's no fun.
Yeah,
there are 2 little kids in this movie, and I assure you they do not have plot armor. So this movie is the Danish couple, Bjorn and Louise, with their daughter Agnes, are on vacation in Tuscany, and they meet the Dutch couple, Patrick and Karen, with their son Abel. Abel, I guess we would pronounce it, but they pronounced it Abel the entire time. Okay, so and they hit it off. They kind of do all the Tuscany things together, and then we follow the Danes home, and they're back in Denmark, and they get a picture in the mail from the family that they met of, the 2 families together, and say, hey, come on over to the Netherlands and hang out with us. And so the Danish couple goes, and this movie is the definition of slow burn. I mean, it just at no point from the first second. The problem is it's on Shudder, so it's a horror movie. So in advance things are going to go south. you don't have any like the indications that things might start going south are really slow in coming, and then when they start coming, it's just thing after thing after thing after thing, and until it's just way too late. And the what happens in this movie, the last 10 minutes of this movie are unforgettable and unspeakable. It is just absolutely shocking what happens at the end of this movie, and it's so upsetting. I can't express to everybody enough. This movie, if you just really want to be fucked up in the head for an extended period of time, definitely catch Speak No Evil. It really is a fantastic movie. I mean, for what it's doing, it's phenomenal. But god damn, it's just like you're just like this for the last 10 minutes and then for about a half hour afterwards, because you just can't believe what is going on screen. It's just
we've been on a streak of these.
Yeah. And here's what I will say about this movie. This movie, I think, is actually just an advertisement for how incompetent Interpol is at their jobs. That I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm trying to throw a little humor onto a horrific movie. Not a horrible, but a horrific movie. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, oh my god, it's something. Wow. It is something to behold. That's that one. The next one is coming from South Korea. Hey, 2 international films. This one's called The Sadness. And this is a zombie movie, okay? And so we've had fast zombies, we've had slow zombies, we've had every kind of zombie that you can imagine. The Sadness presents us with intelligent, horny zombies. So let me explain. The Sadness is basically, it's a COVID movie. Okay. So there's a pandemic going on, and instead of sort of being an offshoot of what COVID is an offshoot of, this is in the rabies branch. The pandemic is in the rabies branch of disease, of communicable diseases. Okay. And so, in the background of the movie, there's a health expert warning that, hey, look, if this virus mutates, it could get really bad because of the fact that it's an offshoot of rabies. And so, when you see an animal with rabies, it gets bad. And so if that happens to you, it could get really bad. And so obviously it mutates, and the people can still talk. So these are talking zombies. Okay. And it's really upsetting. And the focus of the movie is there's a young couple. You're not sure if they're newlyweds or just, recently moved in together or what, but they're clearly in love, and it's really sweet. And the time that they spend together is really sweet. Then this thing breaks out, and it's all about them trying to find each other. Okay. And trying to reconnect again. And just the things that are going on around them and everything that's happened. It's just, it's so affecting. It is so affecting watching this happen. And then you can imagine, it's a horror movie and it's called The Sadness. And so you can imagine where this goes. If you like zombie movies and you don't mind just being really depressed afterwards, you probably would like this one, maybe. Yeah. But really, it's this one. This was really tough. This was I was almost as affected by this one as the other one, just because I love and but man, I mean, and just the idea of intelligent zombies is fucking
unique, yeah,
and horrible, and like horrible.
South Korean cinema does zombies well.
Yeah,
and there was a couple of others that we've seen, and one of the things that I thought when I saw you gave me the titles and I looked up the posters, and I immediately was like, this is a zombie movie, I bet. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, so yeah, I'm really interested in this one, and I'm also kind of excited about the fact that these 2 movies for your segment, we don't typically get movies that are so recently released.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited about that because again, I'm more likely to go, and at least with The Sadness, I'm more likely inclined to go check it out because I, thanks to you, have developed a love for South Korean zombie cinema.
There you go. I don't think it was that. I think somebody else recommended Train to Busan to you, but I did like we made it
but
part
we
of.
built on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we built on that. So.
And I do want to say, and I mean this with all genuine sincerity, Speak No Evil, face value, just purely, it really is effective in what it's trying to do, and it's a fantastic movie, well acted, everything, paced perfectly, shot perfectly, beautiful, visually beautiful. But goddamn, I mean, it's really, and The Sadness is a really good zombie movie. It's just really, I mean, the title really works, and the zombies are all super happy, like and that's why the title is in complete contrast, because and what you kind of find out from another viral expert later is that these people probably are cognizant of what they're doing and know that what they're doing is bad, but they can't stop themselves.
Gotcha.
And so it's like, so the sadness isn't what is outwardly portrayed, but rather just what you're not seeing. Like,
yeah, no, that's exciting because that's such. I mean, I think it's an understatement to say those are such unique twists.
Yeah.
In the zombie category of film. So I'm excited to watch that. In fact, Paul, you mentioned was Speak No Evil on Shudder.
Yes.
And The Sadness is where can we see it?
The Sadness is on Shudder also.
Okay.
I don't remember. Right. I honestly don't. It's either on Shudder or Tubi. It might have been on Tubi.
I will find out right now because I'm excited about this film. Okay. I mean, it's spooky month, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's available on Prime and Vudu for a cost. The Roku channel is what it says. But
okay, it's not on Tubi.
Sling TV, Amazon Prime. It seems to be all at a cost. So.
I might have rented it.
Yeah, which I'll do. I don't mind. I love me some zombie films, that's for sure.
Oh no, right. I got it for free. It's free on AMC Plus. So
good.
It's
I have
probably
that
Shudder.
Too.
Yeah, it's probably Shudder.
Awesome. All right. Well, make sure that you guys check out week to week, find out the unique films that Paul is watching. That way you can freak yourself out as well. So.
And if you're just like, you know what, I'm in a really good space right now and I want to stay there, these are not the movies for you. If you're in a really good space and you're just like, I have some room to be lowered down a few pegs, that's when you're going to want to put these one in.
There you go. Paul, is there a movie that you would recommend that would be lighter fare for after?
Yeah. Oh man, there is one. What's it called? Shit, I don't remember the name of it. Like another horror movie, but it's really funny. What's it called? Something in Tucker versus Evil or something like shit. I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah.
I just figured you'd send them to Disney Plus.
Well,
That's what I'll do sometimes. If I watch a particularly disturbing movie or a horror film, I'll be like, I'm gonna go watch a cartoon now. So.
No, that's true. But if you want to stay in spooky month, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a super fun, funny horror movie that you can enjoy.
I know that film. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. So all right. Well, Paul, thank you for always bringing us unique films.
You know it, buddy.
Can't wait till next week.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to this week's segment of Real Alphabetical. We are on the letter M.
Yep.
And Paul, you gave me a Paul Thomas Anderson film known as The Master. The cast is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The film is interesting. Now, I'm gonna disappoint you tremendously, Paul. But I get where Paul Thomas Anderson why he's the favorite of yours. If I'm
not the favorite. Wes Anderson is the favorite, but Paul Thomas Anderson is absolutely my top. Yeah, it's top 5. So yeah.
Yeah.
I would not have. I'm just going to tell you. This is not what I would have given you.
Okay. We can redo M if you want.
This is not what I would have given you, but it was on the list, and you seemed really interested because you
sure.
hadn't seen it.
No, absolutely.
And so I was like, okay, let's do it. I had only seen it once. This is
Okay.
not one that I ever felt the need to revisit.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so
That
I
makes
did
more sense.
revisit. I did revisit it for this.
Okay.
It's an important, honestly, as a completist, it's an important work.
Yeah. No, and I outside looking, I can see where this film, you know, has a place in the discussion of fine cinema.
Yeah.
But what this movie suffers from, and I'll always say, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, Paul, that sometimes it's just this guy's fault if he doesn't enjoy a film.
Yeah.
I am not always a fan of Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Interesting.
It really does depend on his role, right?
Yeah.
This movie right from the outset was so, his character was so disturbing.
Yeah.
And I get that was obviously that was the point, but I really was like, I don't know why his performance just didn't land for me.
He was so affected.
Yeah.
Who stands like this? With their thumbs pointed forward and their hands towards the back. He stands like this the entire time. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, what is that affect? I don't get it.
And that's where, you know, that's where lies the brilliance of Joaquin Phoenix, is that he figures out these characters down to the most minute details.
Yes, for sure.
But this movie just it's a roller coaster.
It is.
It reminds me of what a loss we had in Philip Seymour Hoffman. I mean,
oh God.
I mean, goodness gracious. So every time I see him in a movie, I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. It just saddens me, you know, because he was so great and he had so much greatness left in him. The film itself, the story, I enjoyed. I anything that deals with, you know, this sort of cult leader influencing an individual who's ripe for it, and then, you know, there's conflict in where Joaquin Phoenix's character, you know, realizes that there's flaws in this person who he first looked up to, and the, you know, the relationship that develops between these two, it dominates the screen and the story in such a way that unfortunately I couldn't get past the mannerisms and affectations that Joaquin Phoenix chose to put on his character.
Interesting.
And it just became like, it was almost, because you know how in some films you'll have in the early phase of the film, you'll have the character with these affectations, but then they become more subtle.
Yeah.
So that the story can take over. That doesn't happen
almost more pronounced.
Exactly. Yeah. And so if you sit there and you think, well, yeah, because of the situation he's in, it's only going to aggravate his characteristics. But unfortunately, I felt like Joaquin Phoenix pushed it too far.
Interesting. Yeah.
And it affected my ability to enjoy the whole story.
No, I can hear that. Well, but here's the thing too, is that this story is the relationship between these two. And and Joaquin Phoenix, World War II veteran, broken man, is the story of the movie. And those affectations are the story of the movie. Like, you know, Paul Thomas Anderson, it just does character study. You know, that's what he does. He does character study. And it's just a question of, are you ready to ride the wave? Like, are these the character? Do you catch it? And are you able to ride it? Because if you are, great. You know, you end up with something like, you know, There Will Be Blood, or, you know, even I rewatched last year's whatchamacallit, why can't I think of it? Licorice Pizza. I watched last year's Licorice Pizza for the first time about a month ago. I loved it. I loved it so much. Like, there was so much that I, you know, kind of didn't pick up on, and it's like, oh my God, this movie is so good. I undervalued it the first time I saw it.
Gotcha.
And Boogie Nights, you know, these are movies that you catch the wave of the characters, and they just absolutely carry you. And this one is, I did not, the first time I saw it, I did not catch that wave, other than Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is just phenomenal. But
Yeah.
everybody, like you said, he's so broken. The Joaquin Phoenix's character is so broken, and you just want him to be fixed. Like that's really what you want. I mean, you just want, like you're just grasping at something to appreciate about this character, and it never comes. And it's so that's difficult. That is very difficult.
Very difficult. And I liken this performance to a lot of what he did in the Joker.
For sure.
Or Joker. And again, he's very, oh gosh, I'm going to say this and I'm going to feel like I'm totally cheapening his work. He's very good at playing these kinds of characters.
That's not cheapening it. I mean, they're difficult characters to play.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that's because that's the intent of my statement.
Yeah,
is you come away with such a greater appreciation for him over the entire body of his work when you consider how far he's come and how much he's done since a movie like Gladiator, where he was so big in terms of how he was portraying this villain, but then it still felt very surface, right? His ability to create characters that are compelling, that are sometimes difficult to watch.
Yeah,
it's his forte, and you also have seen it later in his career that he's being very selective,
right,
about what he's choosing to do, and I applaud that because. I don't ever. He's a wonderful actor.
Yeah,
I just am sometimes not able to get on board with every character he plays. This is one of those that was very difficult for me.
But it is and I intentionally so, and it makes for a movie watching experience that I just don't feel like I ever need to revisit again. Like I've done it twice now, and this is one that I didn't get to see it in theaters, and so I bought it blind, and just because it's Paul Thomas Anderson, and and like it's just like, oh, I kind of wish I had just rented this one, because it's like, yeah, I'm not, it's not one. I will never find myself in a situation ever again where I'm going to want to put in the master for any reason.
Yeah.
So,
same. But hey, at least I can say I watched.
And I will say this:
there
for some people, the master is their favorite Paul Thomas Anderson.
And
for people who love Paul Thomas Anderson,
sure.
And that's not just like, oh well, I hate everything but the master. People, I'm talking about people who love Paul Thomas Anderson. There are people out there who are like, yeah, that's his masterwork, and that's like, okay, that's cool. I would put it as my second to last of all of his movies, but
okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that title. We'll look forward to see what N is going to bring as we continue this journey through the alphabet.
We shall see
with Paul. So, all right. Well, that moves us to a point where we're going to talk about you're going to talk about a couple movies.
Sure.
In this week's real quick reviews. And we'll start with a movie called VHS 99, which, Paul, I learned by doing some quick bit of research. This is part of a franchise?
You didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Not just any franchise, but like literally a found footage franchise. Like there's a franchise of, and not just any found footage franchise, but like a compilation movie found footage franchise. So like they are short films. Each by in the original one they were each by different directors. I don't know if they're still different by different directors. Well, I'll assume that they are, but like and they're just put together. It's just like, hey, here's a 20-minute horror movie, and here's another 20-minute horror movie, and then there's like usually one common like sort of thing interstitial that links them together. And this is just happens to be the latest one. I'm pretty sure I did the one that they released last year too. I could be wrong on that though, but
I don't recall.
Interesting. I mean, look, this is as you can see on the bottom there, it's a Shudder original. If you've seen any of these, definitely see this one. It's worth it. If you have liked any of the other ones, Definitely check this one out. It's something for you. If you've never seen one and you're not big on found footage, this is probably a skippable one, but the last segment is fantastic. I will say that the sticking it to the end is definitely worth it. And there's a middle segment here that is kind of like the comedy horror segment that is just flat out disturbing. Like it's serious. Like, do you remember? You may not remember, but the show Double Dare on Nickelodeon.
I remember it. Yeah.
They would have kids like crawling through slime and stuff.
Right.
Well, there's a kid who went on this like weird version of that show, and she ended up breaking her leg, and everybody made a big joke of it. And the parents decided to get even with the host of the show, and it's pretty messed up. But I liked it. It goes very far south very quickly and is very disturbing. And it takes a twist that like you're just not even remotely anticipating, and gets even more disturbing. So VHS 99. For me, I'm a fan of found footage movies. I recommend. It's good.
Best found footage movie in your opinion, then, in the works you've seen?
Blair Witch. Come on.
Okay. Does it still hold up as the best?
Yes. Actually, okay. I introduced my son Linus to that this week. So
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still the best.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm curious I was curious to get your thoughts, because I've not been big on found footage. I did like Blair Witch. But yeah,
Hell House LLC is fantastic. That's another found footage one. That's one I found last year. That is really good. I would recommend that. Hell House LLC. That one scared the shit out of me a little bit.
Gotcha.
The next movie, The Stranger.
Oh man, listen. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt real quick.
Yep.
When I saw the poster, I was disappointed that I didn't look it up sooner, because I love these two actors.
Yeah, I know.
I really do.
And I saw the movie, and I should have. Here, okay.
Oh.
Inside baseball. What we're doing right now, we were anticipating doing a 3-movie Netflix roulette today.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It fell apart. Just that. I was still anticipating that being the case. And then when we found out we weren't going to be doing all that, it was far too late for me to say, hey, watch The Stranger. You're going to love it. Sergio, watch The Stranger. You're going to love it.
Okay, yeah.
This is just an absolute acting masterclass between Joel Edgerton and Sean Harris. That is phenomenal. It's on Netflix. If you already subscribed to Netflix, it's free to you. Go you can spend 2 minutes not watching the latest season of Unsolved Mysteries, and you can go to The Stranger and check it out. And this is a great slow burn, super talky movie. So excellent. There you go, Sergio.
I'm writing it down on my notes.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't. I like, if things had fallen differently, I would have told you, listen, Sergio, find the time, check it out. But they're just by the time it all fell. So I was
sure.
I'll just tell them when we get to the thing, I'll tell them and it'll be fine. And it's not a big deal. Look, just really quick. This is a story of Joel Edgerton is an undercover cop, and they're trying to solve the kidnapping and murder of a young boy in Australia. And they have reason to believe that it's this character, Sean Harris. They're having a really, really, really hard time getting any evidence whatsoever to pin to connect him to it, though. Yeah. And so Joel Edgerton goes headlong into an undercover operation to recruit Sean Harris to do illegal things so that he eventually admits to Joel Edgerton. So it's one of these where a good guy is trying to befriend a bad guy, and that's always like compelling to me. So
gotcha. No, I all it took was the poster, Paul.
Okay,
and I was like,
man, if you at any point while watching the more recent Mission Impossible movies thought, hey, this bad guy is pretty pretty compelling. And that was it. You got to watch this movie because compelling doesn't even begin to describe him in this movie.
How many times have we said about an actor, hey, it's that guy?
Yeah.
Sean Harris is one of those. And everything I've ever seen him in, I may not have been able to always name him, but I was like, oh, God, he's so good.
Yeah.
And Joel Edgerton, same thing. I mean, I love his work. I really love his work.
Yeah.
And
they get to just relax and not have to pretend to do an accent. So it's great. It's just like, look, we're Australian, fucking deal with it. All right.
Yeah. Joel Edgerton, I don't think gets enough credit for his role in Black Mask simply because of the Johnny Depp movie. I think he was the best thing about that movie.
He might have been the only good thing about that
movie. Such a smarmy guy. But no, yes, you will. In fact, I may spend a few moments next week commenting on these two films in addition to what we're going to talk about because I'm excited about it.
You don't need to do VHS 99.
I meant the sadness.
Okay, the sadness. Yes, perfect. That's fine.
We'll reserve a little bit of time. So
yeah, okay.
But yeah, all right, fantastic. Well, there you go.
Our conversation next week. I'm so excited.
I really am too. I don't know that I want to give it away yet, but it's going to be fun. And again, there's lots happening with the show here in the next few weeks. We're going to share when it's time. But yeah, we're careening towards the end of the year already.
I do want to point out that we will be watching Pray for the Devil, and I'm doing this now so that you can't get out of it.
Okay. I meant to ask. So yeah, that will happen because that's really the only thing opening this week. So
I think Till's coming out too, but we'll talk about that.
Oh, that's right. I think that I gotta look at availability.
Yeah.
It should be. Yeah. Is it this week? I thought it was the 28th. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about
it. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Okay, well, there you go. I should keep this in mind since my anniversary is on Monday. So, Halloween, so 30 years. So
you need to not wait to
till the last
movies.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, I got some work to do. All right.
Unless Ginger's going to be going with you to see Till or
I can
Pray for the Devil.
That's on those titles. That's a big no. So yeah.
Okay.
Anything that's super talky or anything that's super horror, she's like I can just enjoy that from my couch. So, but yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, as always, Paul, it's been a fun time talking films with you. We'll look forward to being together again next week when it will be November. So
yeah, November 1st.
This year is just blazing.
Dia de los Muertos.
That's right. Absolutely. Coco. So with that in mind, we thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Make sure that you click subscribe here on YouTube and that notification bell so that you know when our episodes land. But more importantly than that, you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it.